I recently had the chance to check out a new comic slash toy slash collectible show in my area, and I had an absolute blast. I want to give a big shout out to Brian, the promoter of the show, who put on a great one in Suffolk, New York just this past weekend. It's called Collectors Universe. They do other shows around New York as well, and hopefully a few other places going forward. Now, before we get started in the video, I remind you guys, if you're not a current subscriber of the channel, you guys are missing out on content like this. Do yourself a favor, hit that sub button, do me a solid, hit the like button for me, because it does help the channel out. Now, I'm going to show you the show floor. I pieced it together because this show was absolutely mobbed. Everyone and their grandmother was there, which is a good thing for the show. So hopefully a lot of people bought some great stuff. I myself saw a lot of things that I wanted to take home, and we'll talk about it after the video if I picked up anything or not. But without further ado, let's check out the show floor. So check out these old lunch boxes. They're a little bit beat up for me, but if I could find brand new lunch boxes from when I was a kid, especially like Masters Universe, Voltron, stuff like that, I'd be a buyer. These are a little bit too beat up, but you can see some great vintage stuff here, including Thundercats, some Masters Universe, Pee-wee's Playhouse. This guy actually had some great stuff. A lot of complete and near complete Motu figs. This is the guy I almost bought the Scareglow from. As you can see, between the Sorceress and He-Man, there is a little bit of the space. That's where the Scareglow was, and when I came back to this booth to film, it was already gone, unfortunately. I almost picked up the Sorceress, but decided to pass only because she didn't have her staff. This table had some vintage Batman stuff, which I thought was pretty cool. Some old figurines, stuff like that. Check out this Batmobile. This thing is really old. Haven't seen this one in quite a while at a show. I remember these. I actually had a Shazam one growing up as a kid. There were a couple of dealers who had some NES games, some Super Nintendo games. You guys can see some Wii games here. But there were a couple of other ones I was shocked to see. This dealer actually had some Master System games, which I have not seen many people have for sale. A few Sega Genesis here and there. Some original Game Boy games with the cases. I'm actually myself looking for an original Game Boy to buy. Almost picked it up at that last shop I went to, but I decided to hold off. A bunch of box video games too. If these were in better shape, I probably would have picked up a few of them, but a couple of my favorites in there between Bases Loaded, Baseball Stars. And then, of course, some boxed NES games to boot. So this dealer had some vintage G1 Transformers, which I do not see often when I go to these toy shows. And they had a bunch for some decent prices that were complete to boot. I didn't go through all of them each individually to check out if the joints were good. You guys can see some Dinobots there, but they actually had quite a few. Thought about picking them up, but again, I did not have a lot of time. And besides that, this place was jam-packed. How about a Starscream in box? Now, it wasn't complete and they didn't have the styrofoam, but still, how often do you see that? This one I almost picked up as well, a complete Soundwave. Minus the box, but still, if you're collecting G1 Transformers, this is one you might want. a massive selection of loose G.I. Joe figures. I wasn't a huge G.I. Joe collector as a kid, but hey, I stuck to Masters of the Universe and Transformers. And speaking of Masters of the Universe, check this out. Here's one you don't see too often. Blackface Grizzlord. Now, this guy was asking $120, which I thought was a little bit too much money, so I decided to pass. But I believe later on in the show, when I came back, somebody picked it up. Some more Masters of the Universe, some Thundercats, complete, which you usually do not see. And this guy had a lot of them. I don't want to go down that road of collecting loose Thundercats. They're quite hard to find complete, but this guy had quite a few great pieces in his collection, including this Mum-Ra. Now that Mum-Ra, you see that figure with the staff? It is super hard to find complete. He was asking $35. I almost picked it up, but decided to pass. And for all you Pokemon guys out there, a ton of Pokemon was at this show. I, of course, know nothing about Pokemon, so I just wanted to go ahead and show you guys what they had. You guys remember these costumes from back in the day, man? I remember them. Between Charlie Brown, Masters of the Universe, Marvel. I had Dr. Doom when I was a kid, believe it or not. Some great on-card G.I. Joe. Here was something else I almost picked up, a loose Hulk Hogan from the LGN line with the belt. They're asking $60, but I decided to pass on that as well because when I checked online, probably going roughly about the same price, even though it was a nice, clean Hulk Hogan from that line. Now, if you're a Turtles fan, this guy at this booth had all of them for sale, from the movie figs to some of the originals. This guy had them all. Everybody recognizes this guy, right? Mr. Terrific, $15. One of the better parts of the Superman movie. Our boy Lobo, Jason Momoa. A ton of new Masters of the Universe figures. I gotta be honest, the cartoon collection I really love, but anything outside of that is just not really collectible right now. Another booth with a ton of games between Game Boy, SNES, Xbox, PlayStation, you name it, they had it. Now, this is one of the better booths at the show because they have these retro mystery game packs. Now, I was speaking to the gentleman for a little bit when I was here, and he was telling me they did this before where they didn't let you choose the system, but at this show, they were letting you choose the system that you wanted, and you can buy a mystery game pack, get a game for a good deal. I thought it was a great idea, and if you're into that kind of stuff, like mystery boxes, mystery packs, definitely check out this show. ton of box Star Wars stuff, which I was not expecting to see. But here you have a big loose Darth Vader. Some original Ghostbusters. And of course, some LGN WWF wrestling figures. A lot of these were not in great shape, but for cheap, if you're collecting this line, this guy had them for a steal. And I'm just going to leave you with a bunch of pictures that I took at the show from walking around. Some great stuff. You do not get to see that often, including this in-box Castle Grayskull. Amazing to see. That box art is straight out of my childhood, as are these Smurfs. Had a bunch of these growing up as a kid. And they did have comics at the show. Not a huge selection. Our boy Jim over at Bronzeville Comics was actually there, set up selling comics. So shout out to Jim. And one of my good friends who is a comic dealer, Dave, had this incredible Daredevil 1 Raw that he just picked up. So if you're looking for a copy, contact New York Comic Auctions on Instagram. A great mini poster for the Transformers movie signed by Frank Welker, of course, the voice of Megatron. If you collect Matchbox cars, this show is definitely for you. They had a ton between the new ones and the vintage. A lot of great stuff could be found at this show, so make sure you're checking out Collectors Universe on IG. So that's it for this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Again, about 100 plus tables were at this show. Pretty big, believe it or not. I almost walked away with a few things. Unfortunately, in the midst of filming, I had to come back a couple of times because the booths were very, very busy. I almost picked up a Scare Glow, which was gone by the time I got back to that booth. And I almost picked up a Sorceress Complete. You guys know I'm big Motu fans. And those are two of the ones I am still missing in my loose collection. Hopefully one day I'll be able to pick up some of these things. But for this time, I actually missed out. But either way, it's a great show. If you guys are in the area, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut even, it's not too far. Make sure you check it out.